right, happy Monday. Thanks for joining us. Let's start in a comfortable seat of your choice. So in the past couple of days, we've been reviewing the yamas, sometimes known as moral restraints in yoga philosophy, but a recent definition was reflections of your true nature. I like that one. And there are 5. We started with ahimsa, which is nonviolence, to be carried over with the second, which is satya, or truthfulness. I wanted to dive a little deeper into truthfulness, just because when I open books and a page just randomly calls to me and it reaffirms that same yama, I'm like, I think we need to spend more time on it. So this is a recent book I got by spiritual teacher Ram Dass, and it's called Remember, Be Here Now. So this one explores truth in the way we view others and how our views of others can bring us back to really what our relationship is to ourselves. He says, you meet another person and there are qualities in that personality which offend you, and there are qualities which attract you. Some qualities seduce you. Some qualities repel you. Some qualities sexually excite you. Some qualities revolt you. Some qualities interest you. Some qualities fascinate you. Some bore you. It's only when you can see through all that veil, through all your own desires, to where the other being is, that you begin to take the journey inward. And the deeper you get in, the more you meet the truth. Such an interesting format in this book too. I want to finish with another quote, wonderful teacher, Carolyn Myss, PhD. This is from Anatomy of the Spirit, the 7 stages of power and healing. And this is about taking the courage to see the truth. And it also relates with how you relate with others and how that reflects who you are as well. Too many people are frightened of knowing themselves, convinced that self-knowledge would mean living alone without their current friends and partners. While the short-term effect of self-knowledge may well cause changes, its long-term developments, fueled by consciousness, not fear, will be more fulfilling. It makes no sense to seek to become intuitively conscious, then work to keep that consciousness from upsetting our lives. The only path towards spiritual consciousness is through the heart. That truth is not negotiable. No matter what spiritual tradition one chooses as a means to know the divine source, love is divine power, creative power, infinite intelligence. So just different angles of our journey to truth and what that means to you. As we continue Satya, exploring in the physical body, let's begin with that. So find a way to sit so you feel firmly rooted. Press into what you're sitting on through the pelvis. And maybe close the eyes as you begin to more consciously uplift your spine. Broaden the collarbones, lifting the chest. Feel the very center of the top of your head rise. Feel the back of your skull slightly lift. And now bring your attention down your shoulders, releasing the shoulder blades softly down the back ribs. Feel the physical space that you're in, underneath, surrounding you, the air. Then the bridge between the outer space and the inner, feel the movement of your breath as it is. Becoming more curious without having to judge it in any way, just noticing its qualities. One of the wonderful things about the physical body is that it doesn't lie. It is the direct experience of what is, whether it be physical stimuli or emotional reactions. You can feel the latter in your felt sense. So as you dive your attention deeper inward, notice your state of mind right now. What kind of thoughts? Are they feeling heavy or light? Do they elicit an emotion? And if so, do you feel that in your physical body? As we move through the asanas, the postures of yoga, I invite you to attend to that sense of curiosity of seeing how your body is directly experiencing what is, whether it be the thoughts that arise when you're in a pose, or the physical pose itself, or something else. Now let's bring the hands to stack right at your heart. Feel the drum beat there. As you take a slower inhale, fill up the space around the heart. Let the lungs expand, then maybe the belly. Through your lips, draw the breath out and hear that whisper. Go all the way out to empty, still sitting tall. Feel the breath in, expand, maybe a little slower, maybe a little deeper. Hear the breath out through your mouth. Now leave your left hand at your chest. Place your right hand down underneath your belly button. Start to fill up those two areas where your hands are as you breathe in. Now as you're consciously deepening the breath, becoming more engaged with it in your mind, do you feel any slight difference from when you first arrived? Just this little time of your practice. Play with that feeling of being curious, not having to label much right or wrong, good or bad, but being open to the full spectrum of whatever experience has to show you some light of truth. What are you nurturing within yourself today? What are you opening your heart to experience? Perhaps set your sankalpa or intention. Now as you close the lips, breathe a little deeper into the belly, feeling your diaphragm, helping to expand the belly as you inhale, and gently soften the belly inward as you exhale. And as you're breathing through the nose, balance the breath in and out. So either continue with a slow, gentle breath, or prepare to start Vastrika, bellows breath, energizing, where you close the lips, close the eyes, and I'll do a quick demo. The elbows begin bent apart with hands like fists. You inhale, lift the arms, fingers spread, and you exhale, bend the elbows, just like this. So watch the clock for 1 minute if you're going to try that. Get ready and begin. And relax. Just notice how you feel for a moment. Then still closing your lips, come back to sustaining your breath equally through your nose, but now add narrowing gently the back of your throat, beginning Ujjayi Pranayama, victorious breath. Creating a smooth, soft whispering sound through the nose. Now, still attending to that breath. If you do have a yoga block, do grab it and use the skinniest width to hug between your thighs. If you don't, just bring your thighs together. So come to lie down on your back, either hugging that block between your thighs or legs hugging each other. Spread your arms wide apart like a T, so your shoulders are rooted into the ground. And continue to listen to that steady rhythm in your breath. Point or flex your feet and feel the weight of your pelvis on the floor. Draw the belly in slightly so that you feel a little more lengthening in your lower back. Take a deep inhale. Then slowly lower your legs to the right just to hover off the ground without collapsing, without lifting the left shoulder. Then inhale, slowly lift the knees up, back to center. Exhale, hover to the left side. Just as low as you can go without lifting the right shoulder, without collapsing the legs. Inhale, center. Either keep the knees bent or add on and straighten the legs. Exhale, hover to the right. Inhale, slowly up to center. Nice and controlled movements. Exhale to the left. If your legs are straight, you might try inhale to center. Exhale, lower the legs to the right forward, diagonally. Inhale up to center. Otherwise, if the knees are bent, continue side to side. Exhale to the left forward, diagonally if legs are straight. Inhale up to center, nice and slow. Notice the jaws relax. Exhale to the right, further forward, closer to the front edge of your mat, still diagonally if legs are straight. Inhale up to center, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Exhale, hover to the left, much further forward, equal to the right, in diagonal. Inhale up to center. Let's try two more. Over to the right. You decide if it's a diagonal or straight out to the right, just playing with differences. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Last one on both sides. Breathe in. Nice steady breaths. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Great focus, everyone. Exhale, left. Nice steady rhythm. Inhale, center. And set your feet on the ground, preparing for moving bridge pose, which means an inhale to lift the pelvis up and an exhale to slowly lower the spine. Let's try 3 rounds of that, 1 breath each. So first begin by making sure your feet are where you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips if your arms are straight down by your sides. Then the feet are parallel, hips width apart, or you're hugging a block by the narrowest width between your thighs. Grounding your shoulders and feet, breathe in to slowly lift the pelvis. Actively stretch your tailbone forward, tilt the chin slightly back. Find the peak of your bridge pose, then exhale right away, slowly lower 1 vertebra at a time. Again, nice and controlled movements. So at your own pace of breath, try 2 more rounds of moving bridge pose. Be aware of engaging your hamstrings and slightly your glutes when you lift your pelvis. You can do that by thinking as if you're dragging your feet towards your glutes when you lift the pelvis up. Don't actually move the feet, just use that to help engage the backs of your thighs. Actively drawing the tailbone forward towards the space between your knees. Now, when you do finish the 3rd round of moving bridge pose, rest your pelvis on the ground for just a couple of breaths to prepare to lift up and hold regular bridge for your count of 5 to 10 deep breaths. So as you feel ready, keeping the feet parallel, toes spread, lift up the pelvis, engage the hamstrings and slightly the glutes, slide the upper arms closer together under your back ribs, perhaps you interlace the fingers, and you're on your own count of 5 to 10. Tilt the chin slightly back. Feel the expansion across the collarbones, even the side. Tilting the chin slightly back, opening the throat. Using this posture especially to encourage fullness of breath, as well as opening the heart energy center, the space around the heart. When you decide, use an exhalation again to slowly lower your spine. And once you do, separate your knees a little wider than hips distance and draw them in towards your armpits. Begin to rock side to side, gently massaging your lower back onto the ground. So we're keeping the knees wide, and turn all the way over to one side. Rising up to sit, we're going to come into a seated spinal twist. Don't worry, we're going to flow in a moment. But come up to sit and extend your left leg forward and set up your twist with either right foot in front of hip, crossed outside of left knee, where you could also bend the left knee. Then place the right hand behind your pelvis, raise the right arm up, left arm up, and breathe in to sit a little taller. Exhale, twist to your right and lower your left arm. Hold your shin or hook your elbow outside the thigh. Slide the shoulders down, lift the chest and broaden it. Use the exhales to gently press your belly towards your back while you rotate the chest deeper into the twist. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Great way to enliven energy throughout the spine where most of the 7 energy centers lie, as well as decompress the spine, stretch the lower back, stimulate digestion. With an exhale, unwind, and let's set up for side 2. So bending the left knee, step the foot either in front of the hip or outside of the right knee, or you might also bend the right knee. Place the left hand behind your pelvis, right arm up, press into the ground, breathe in, sit taller. Breathe out, twist to your left. Head in the chest, lift the spine. Breathe out, continue to twist. Last 3 deep breaths here. I'm a little paranoid now when I hear a little beeping on my microphone. I check to make sure it's on. So feel free to wave your hands if you're suspicious that the microphone is turned off. With an exhale, let's unwind. Let's come on to all fours, beginning our rounds of cat-cow. Set up your hands any way you like. So if you want some wrist strengthening, you can come up on spider fingers like this. If you want some wrist stretching, you could spin the fingertips to turn out, maybe back towards the knees. Now have your wrist a couple inches ahead of your shoulders with your knees under your hips, so your spine has a little more room to move around. And with the inhale, begin to stretch the spine forward, then coil the chest up into cow pose. With an exhale, contract the belly, dropping your head to round your back. And then keep going, about 4 more cycles of breath, nice and slow. When you finish this last one, this last exhalation in cat-cow, spin the index fingers to face forward so they're parallel to each other, thumbs wide and flat, and then tuck your toes to lift back into downward facing dog. Take a moment if you want to shift around there, pedaling the feet, shaking the head, swiveling the hips, raising a leg and then the other. Still cultivating that even sound as you breathe through your nose. Feel your hands evenly grounded, weight spread through every knuckle out to your fingertips. Feel your shoulders drawing back away from your hands, lifting away from your neck. Allow your skull to drop. Then rotate the triceps downward. Feel the shoulder blades broaden securely onto your back ribs. Feel free to bend the knees a little more and see how high you can lift your hips, and then draw the fronts of your thigh bones back, shifting more weight towards the rear of your mat, whether or not the heels drop. Now let's take a few breaths being still here. Feel the belly firm in. Feel the chest slightly pressing back towards the shins, long through all the sides of your neck. A slow vinyasa. Inhale, glide forward into your version of plank pose, and let's pause for about 3 breaths. Stack the shoulders right above your wrists. Knees can be on the ground, or if legs are straight, actively press the heels back. Lift the lower belly. Gaze forward. See if you can take more than one breath or more than an exhale to glide forward and slowly lower. So it's really nice and controlled. The lower belly stays lifted in line with the chest. Shoulders stay relaxed and away from the neck. Now we're going to come into bound locust pose. Set your forehead on the floor to start with knees no wider than hips width. Point your toes and stretch the legs back actively. Then reach the hands behind your lower back and interlace your fingers. Try to hug the heels of your palms together. And we're going to lift and hold for 3 to 5 breaths, your count. So begin to press your heels back, keeping your feet parallel, pointing the toes back, so much that you lift the legs, the knees might come off the floor, and then coil your chest up as you draw the shoulder blades down the back. Look slightly down and feel the length of the back of your neck as you relax the face. Deep breaths. Now feel your hands as they're clasped. Imagine the knuckles are trying to reach back to touch your heels. And keep lifting the heart. Feel your pubic bone anchored to the ground and your tailbone lengthening actively towards the space between your knees, just like you did in bridge pose. When you finish your count of 3 to 5 breaths, set your hands flat, press up through all fours, and back to downward facing dog. We're going to do a different kind of vinyasa today using that same posture you just did, bound locust pose. It offers some great strengthening for the lower back. Just another way to play with strengthening core stability in the body as we open the heart space. Take a deep breath and bend your knees. Look in front of your hands. At the end of your exhale, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat, standing in a forward fold. With the feet about hips width apart, parallel, press your legs or the ground ahead and breathe in to lift the chest, gaze forward. Exhale to fold in. Firming down through your feet, inhale, sweep the arms to rise all the way up. Watch your palms meet overhead. Exhale, join them at your heart. Remember your intention. Let's move with that. Inhale, sweep the arms. To lengthen halfway up. Step back to plank. Exhale, lower forward then down, all the way to your belly. Clasp the hands behind the lower back, point the toes. Inhale, just one inhale, lift everything you can. Bound locust pose, keep the feet parallel. Press the hands down. Exhale, lift the pelvis back to downward facing dog. Staying for 3 to 5 deep breaths. Take a look at your feet and feel your shoulders lifting lightly away from your neck. With very bent knees, look ahead of your fingertips, past where you want to land, and at the bottom of the breath, float or walk there. Inhale, lengthen halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, gazing up, palms touch. Exhale to your heart. Twice more. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Step or float back, but we'll meet all the way to the floor when you lower. Clasp the hands, maybe the other thumb and index finger on top. Breathe in, lift everything. Feet stay parallel, point the toes. Exhale, press with your hands. Back to downward facing dog. So I'd like you to notice the position of your neck and head when you practice that last posture, bound locust pose. Just feel that the neck is not cranking to lift the chest up. Let it be the heart leading rather than the head leading, if that makes some sense. Bend your knees. Last one, look forward. Bottom of the exhale, lightly land at the top. Inhale, lengthen halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, palms touch. Exhale to your heart. Inhale, sweep the space around you. Exhale, dive in. Inhale, lift your heart and gaze forward. Step or float back to lower all the way again. When you root the pelvis down, right away clasp the other fingers on top, if you remember which, and breathe in to lift while lengthening the legs back. Feel your neck here, feel your head. You press back, downward facing dog. Let's take a few breaths. So starting with feet hips width apart in downward dog, keep leveling your hips, and inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, bend the right knee slowly towards your nose. Pause when your shoulders stack above your wrists, and take another inhale to lift the belly higher if you can. Use the exhale to very softly land the foot just inside of the right hand. Lower the back knee and untuck the toes. With your legs hips width apart, root down to your front foot and rise up. Now let's start by pressing the hands at the very top of your right thigh, and actually do scoot your right heel another inch or 3 inches forward so that we can get a little deeper stretch into the top of your left hip, your hip flexor, which is very much connected to the lower back. So as you're allowing the pelvis to sink, be careful not to let it tilt so much forward where the tailbone starts to point further back. Think of anchoring the tailbone down. So the hands at the very top of your right thigh can help you lift the frontal hip bones up. So you're containing your center. Now keep energetically, without visibly, dragging that right foot back. Helps to align the hips squared, bringing the left outer hip forward. And as you breathe in, lift the spine up taller, broaden the chest. Exhale and relax the shoulders. If you're not feeling much, or it feels like you could go a little further, you could slide the right heel further forward, but keep drawing the tailbone down and lifting the frontal hip bones. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Now tuck the back toes, plant your fingertips on the ground to prepare for a high lunge, coming up to stand crescent pose. So the feet are hips width apart, parallel. You could bend the back knee here to help feel your pelvic bowl again upright. And then if you feel that left hip flexor is warm enough, you could re-straighten the left leg. Keep drawing the tailbone down, scissoring the right hip back. And as you raise the arms, feel the lift from your hips, not just your shoulders, and all the way up to your fingertips. Relax the shoulders. A few more breaths. Feel the rooting downward of your feet, of your tailbone. Feel the rising upward of your crown, of your fingertips, the sides of your torso. Keep those 2 directions of energy flowing, then bend your elbows wide apart like a cactus shape, sliding the shoulder blades further down your back ribs. Right under your shoulder blades. Begin to bend the back to tilt the chest up. Just to the degree you could still balance, the gaze starts to lift. Feel the length at the back of your neck. Last couple of breaths here. Now bring your hands together at your heart, preparing to turn left for warrior 2. Spin the left heel down, slide the right foot over to the left just a few inches so that heel aligns with the arch of your left foot. You're completely turning out the right leg from the hip socket, so the front knee and middle toe are tracing the midline of your mat facing forward. It helps that you're turning the left leg slightly inward as you straighten it. Feel again your pelvic bowl upright as the tailbone descends, your frontal hip bones slightly lift, and then with an upright spine, broaden your arms. Reach out to your fingertips. Steadying your gaze just ahead of the right hand, or maybe with the eyes closed. So as you continue a few more breaths here in Warrior 2 and Virabhadrasana 2, feel these two counter actions. Your right glute, outer hip, rotating slightly underneath your body, while the very top of your left thigh bone is pressing back towards the right edge of your mat. Right outer hip under, top of the left thigh bone back. Feel that ability to stabilize the pelvic area. 2 more breaths. Now, as you feel your weight press down through the big toe mound of the right foot and the outside edge of the left foot, straighten the right leg, preparing for triangle pose. You might shorten your stance a couple inches. Engage the fronts of your thighs, feel solid in your legs, lift the spine tall, and glide your pelvis sideways towards the back edge of your mat, reaching the right hand towards the front wall as far as you can before tilting it down to land on your right leg, or just to the right of the leg, maybe on a block. Now feel those two counteractions we did last in Warrior 2. Right outer hip rolling under the body, top of the left thigh bone firming back towards the right edge of the mat. As you feel the belly strong, slightly engaged, rotate the center of your chest slightly to face the sky. As you relax the shoulders down the back. You might be gazing up towards the left thumb. We're going to be here for several more breaths, and those of you who would like to give your obliques a little more strengthening while you're here, rotate the left tricep to face the left wall, raise the left arm overhead, micro bend the right knee so you're not sinking into the knee joint, and raise the right arm parallel to the left. Continue to spiral the chest slightly towards the sky. Tack your right hip crease back towards the rear of your mat. Belly in. Let's take 3 more deep breaths, whatever you're choosing in this pose. Look down at your right foot, inhale. Lower your 2 hands, step back to downward dog, or out of vinyasa if you choose. Your own kind of vinyasa, whether that bound locust or cobra or up dog. When you return to downward facing dog, see your feet hips width apart. Find stability in your 2 hips, and inhale, raise your left leg behind you. As you exhale, bend the knee towards your nose, round forward to stack shoulders over wrist, pause, breathe in and see if you can lift the belly a little higher. Use that to exhale, softly land the foot just inside of your left hand. Set the right knee down and untuck the toes for a kneeling lunge. Firm down through your left foot and lift the torso upright. So feel the energy in your legs. As the legs are hips width apart, it's like you're dragging them towards each other without actually moving them. So it's the muscular energy in the legs. Now place your hands at the very top of your left thigh. Press that down as you try to lift the spine up. You might feel a nice release in the lower back. I just did. So from here, see how much you could slide the left heel forward. Maybe it's an inch, maybe it's a few more, so that your tailbone anchors downward, not tilting backward so much. And while you're pressing the thigh down with your hands, you're lifting the frontal hip bones. Still energetically scissoring the left thigh bone back. So the right outer hip slightly comes forward to even out the 2 hips. Breathing length up the spine, grounding through both feet. Maybe slide the left heel another inch forward. Stretching into the right hip flexor here. Drawing the tailbone downward. Let's take 2 more breaths in this variation. Then set your fingertips on the ground to frame your left leg. Tuck the back toes to come into a high lunge. Front knees right over the heel now. Crescent pose. Rise all the way up. So here, bend the right knee, or feel free to, if you'd like to use that as help to align the tailbone downward, lift the frontal hip bones again, and re-square the hips. And then once you've got that, if your right hip flexor is willing, then go ahead and straighten the right leg if you like. Now feel length through the sides of your torso. From your outer hips, your triceps, up to your fingertips. And then relax the shoulders down at the same time. Feeling those counter forces, grounding and rising. Couple more breaths here. Then bend your elbows apart like a cactus shape, and inhale, slide the shoulder blades further down the back. Keep the pelvis upright, and begin to, right under the shoulder blades, wheel the chest up. Feel the space in the back of your neck, stability through the legs, squared hips. Let's take 3 more breaths in this back bend, heart opening version of crescent. Feel your collarbones broaden. Then join your hands together at your heart. Let's prepare for Warrior Two, facing the right wall. Spin the back heel down, align the left heel to the arch of the right foot, and then open your arms. Feel that your left leg is entirely facing the front of your mat, so front knee, middle toe trace the midline. Right leg is slightly turned inward, unless you're modifying for an ankle injury like me. Now feel these counter forces. Left outer hip, glute, slightly rotates under the body, while top of the right thigh bone firms back towards the left edge of your mat. Feel your pelvic bowl upright. Now let's take a few more breaths. Is there anything interesting your body is saying to you in this pose? Even if spurred by a thought or motion, emotion. Last 2 breaths, Virabhadrasana 2. As you press down through the big toe mound of your left foot and the outside edge of your right foot, straighten both legs for triangle, in which you might shorten your stance. Then engage the fronts of your thighs, slide your pelvis sideways towards the back edge of your mat, and reach the left hand towards the front wall as far as you can before tilting it down. To land on your left leg or just to the left of the leg, then let's feel those counter forces as we did in Warrior Two. Left outer hip rotating under the body, while top of the right thigh bone firms back towards the left edge of the mat. Can you feel, as much as you can, equal length along both sides of your torso? From your outer hips to your armpits, equal length. Now relaxing the shoulders away from the neck, turn your chest slightly to face the sky. If you did that fun little side core rigor on the first side, go ahead and wrap your right tricep to face the right wall and sweep the right arm overhead. Micro bend your left knee so you don't collapse into the knee joint, and raise the left arm parallel to the right. Continue to draw the navel in, spiral the chest slightly towards the sky, shoulder blades down the back. 3 more breaths, whatever version you're choosing. From here, press down through your feet and inhale, rise up. Something different. Keep the wide stance and pivot your feet to face the wide edge of your mat so your feet are parallel. Bring your hands behind your back, either to press fist to fist like this, or I'll just turn around, or hold opposite elbows, or go a little further to open the chest in reverse prayer, where you slide the fingertips right between the shoulder blades. Then lift your chest up, take a deep breath in, hinge from your hips, and let your weight shift a little heavier onto the balls of your feet as you fold, letting the head fall for a few breaths here. Now, as your hands are behind your back, lift your shoulder heads up and away from your neck. Let the neck soften, jaw relaxed. Feel the support of your legs, engaging the fronts of your thighs, where it feels like you're lifting your kneecaps without locking the knees. In this version of Prasarita Padottanasana, let's take 2 more breaths. Long spine, so feel free to bend the knees to really feel the full length of your spine. Eliminate any pain in the lower back. Now lower your fingertips on the ground or in blocks as you inhale to lift the chest, lengthening halfway up. Exhale, bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips. Meeting with your chest, breathe in to slowly rise up. So we've done quite a bit of opening the fronts of the shoulders, the heart space, as well as the hip flexors. Let's put that into a balancing practice called Natarajasana. So let's come to stand at the top of your mat, bringing the feet together to touch. If you have a strap, if you're not familiar with what Natarajasana is, it's dancer pose where you catch hold of the back leg like this. So if you do want to use a strap, go ahead and grab it. You can either make a loop on it and stick the ball of your foot into that loop like a stirrup, or just step your foot right into the middle of the strap like this. And then do have the foot ready in the strap if you are using one, so you're holding the strap to start. If you're not using a strap, go ahead and just turn your right palm to face up so your right elbow is just against your right hip. Place your pelvis. Because as you are aware of that and how it might change throughout the posture, you can use your observance of that to make any adjustments. So you're connected to the center line of your body and containing your center. So steady the breath and steady your eyes on one spot. Then bend the right knee close to the left, lifting the right foot. If you don't have a strap, try to reach for the inside of the ankle or foot, if possible, but do what you can. Draw the tailbone downward towards the floor, right on the inside of your left heel. Notice how that helps to lift the frontal hip bones. Now kick the right leg slowly towards straight as you pull the foot, using those counter forces to help steady your balance as you breathe the heart space up, like cobra pose, like bound locust pose. Now raising the left arm, wrap the left tricep forward, just like you would in downward dog. You might even bring thumb and first finger to touch. The more you tilt forward, the more you kick the right leg back, you feel that cradle of support, your own cradle of support. So opening the heart space, let's take 2, maybe 3 more breaths before we stand again in mountain pose. And then gently set the right foot down when you're ready. And just pause at mountain. Bring the hands together at the heart space. Breathe into the heart area. Breathe out through the mouth a couple more times. Notice what you feel there, any sensation or something subtler than physical sensation. Sometimes we're feeling low energy or not such a happy mood. Practicing physical heart openers like that can help to uplift us a bit energetically. So let's do side 2. If you're going to use a strap, go ahead and prepare it on your left foot. Otherwise, flip the left palm face up with the elbow right against your hip, right hand on the right hip. I'm not going to do this one, I'm just going to talk you through it because I'm not putting weight on the right foot by itself. So bend the left knee close to the right. If you don't have a strap, catch hold of the inside of your left ankle or foot. Draw the tailbone down, so feel the containment of your lower belly. Steady the gaze and lift the heart. As you kick the left leg towards straight while pulling the foot or ankle towards you, feel the counter forces to balance, lifting the chest with each breath, raising the right arm. You might bring thumb and first finger to touch. Remember the back bends to safely happen. You want to focus on bending right under the shoulder blades and instead lengthening the lower back. And kicking the left leg towards straight is helpful to lengthening the lower back. Square the hips to evenly face the front. Let's take 2, maybe 3 more breaths before you decide to gently step into mountain pose. Beautiful. Okay, so once you've landed, again, set your hands at your heart and take 3 deep breaths where your hands are. Just feel into that space. Anything to notice? We're going to seal the heart opening part of the practice with one more back bend, camel ustrasana. So if you do have a yoga block, do grab it, and we're going to come to stand on our knees. If you want more cushion under your knees, you could fold the mat thicker like this. Skinniest width of the block, firmly hugging between your thighs. If you're using one. If you're not using one, just separate your knees about hips width. Tuck your toes under. I can't do that with this thing on, so do tuck your toes under. It adds more lift in the heels and stability in the legs. Bring your hands to your lower back with your fingertips face down, and actually try to release the flesh of your glutes downward towards the backs of your knees. You feel the lower back lengthen as the tailbone actively descends, and the frontal hip bone slightly lift, all of what we've been doing to stabilize the center. Now lift the back ribs and draw the shoulder blades down them. Deep breaths, bend the elbows closer together, feel the broadening of your chest. Then begin to bend the back mostly from right under your shoulder blades, lifting the heart. So you've got your own count of 5 to 10 deep breaths, doing this posture just once. If it's available, you can reach for your heel or heels, but just make sure your pelvis does not move behind the knees. Keep the pelvis right above the knees. After 5 to 10 breaths of your own, with the help of your hands in your lower back, slowly roll the spine upright. Then let's find a comfortable seat. You might even like to sit on your prop. We're going to practice alternate nostril breathing. Really nice for calming the nervous system, balancing the left and right hemispheres of the brain, and just encouraging clear breaths. So start as you sit upright to rest the left hand on your lap. You might like to bring the thumb and first finger to touch, helps to concentrate. And then with your right hand, stick out your thumb, pinky, and ring finger like this. Closing your lips, softly sustain your breath through your nose. And you might eventually close your eyes unless you feel ready to do so now. We'll start a few rounds together, and as you feel the pattern, continue at your own pace whenever you're ready to. So exhale this breath completely, then hold the breath out. With your right thumb, cover the right nostril, inhale through the left. Hold the breath in. Last 2 fingers cover left, exhale to right. Hold. Inhale through right. Hold. Cover right with thumb, exhale left. Hold. Inhale left. Hold. Cover left. Exhale right. Hold. Inhale right. Hold. Cover right. Exhale left. Continue at your own pace. Finish this cycle of breath, then release both hands and just pause. Curious about the experience. Softly, as you feel ready, flutter your eyes open. Extending your left leg straight out to the left. Actually, do bend the knee so your heel is just on the floor as you flex the foot. Bring your right heel in front of your pelvis here. And with your left hand crossed in front of your body, catch hold of your outer right calf, knee, or ankle. We're going to come into a side stretch. So if it feels okay in your hamstring, you can straighten the left leg all the way out to the left side. We're just starting in a modified version, and then you can decide to take it deeper if you like. You can even slide the right heel out to the right more, which will make this a deeper of a side bend. So raise the right arm up, wrap the tricep forward, shoulder blades down, press through your sitting bones and lift the spine, breathe in. Exhale, side bend to your left towards your straighter leg. Pause, ground both sitting bones, breathe in, lift the spine from the pelvis some more. Exhale, keep side bending, both feet are flexed. So as that right knee drops open and you're pulling the leg with your left hand, feel the counter forces to stabilize you while you reach to the left, opening the right side of your torso. Let's take 2 deep breaths aimed into that area. Then breathe in to lift the spine upright. Straighten the right leg, or you can bend the knee slightly out to the right, flex the foot. Place the left heel either in front of the pelvis or out to the left more to go further. Cross the right arm in front of your body and catch hold of your outer left ankle or leg. Flex both feet and raise the left arm. Wrap the tricep forward, shoulders down. Press down with the pelvis, breathe in to lengthen the spine. Exhale, side bend to your right. Let the left knee drop open as you're pulling the leg towards you. Pause, breathe in, lift the spine a bit more from the pelvis. Exhale, keep reaching to the right. Let's take 3 more breaths here in this lateral stretch. Also focusing on opening the sides of the lower back. Deep, deep muscles, the quadratus lumborum. Breathe in to slowly rise up. Nice. So as you're straightening both legs in front to start, we're going to come into an upright twist. So flex the feet again, bend the left knee, cross your right hand to catch the outer calf or the outer foot, lifting the leg as you kick it forward to whatever degree you can straighten while keeping the spine upright. Press down to the sitting bones, lengthen the spine, and exhale, raise the right arm behind you. Sorry, the left arm behind you, the other arm, and twist. Breathe in, lift tall. Breathe out, keep rotating the chest. Feel your 2 sitting bones plugged into the ground, so hips stay evenly facing forward. Let's take a couple more breaths. Slide both of your shoulder blades down your back and grow up through the sides of your neck. Hollow the belly. One last breath, deep in the twist. And then look forward, slide the left leg straight, bend the right knee, catch the outer calf or the outer foot, flex the foot as you kick it forward, and backstroke the right arm behind. Breathe in, sit tall by pressing down through the sitting bones. Breathe out, twist. Great, wringing out the spine, releasing tension from the back. Keep breathing, keep twisting. Now notice your shoulders. Actively press the shoulder blades down your back ribs and lift up through the sides of your neck. One more deep breath, hollowing the belly as you breathe out, deepening the twist. And with an exhale, unwind. Bring your soles of your feet together to touch. I'm going to use a little prop for under my outer feet to support my ankle. And then from here, Catch your outer feet. Breathe in, lift the spine. Breathe out, extend the heart forward to fold. Lengthening a little more as you inhale and ground the pelvis. Folding as you breathe out. Feel the broadening of your lower back. You might send your breath there, taking 2 more. Again with the chest, the heart, breathe in to rise up. So if you have a wall that you could rest your legs on as you lie on your back, so your glutes are right up against the wall, I invite you to do this last posture, doing that, lying on your back, legs up the wall, with the legs straddled apart. If straddled apart feels a bit much for your hips, you can do the same position that we have here with the legs, but the legs are on the wall. Otherwise, you could sit down like I'm doing, because this one's not a wall behind me. I will just fall over. And then straddle the legs apart, flex the feet slightly to support the knees, and then keep the sitting bones grounded as you fold. You could even use something like a block to catch the lowest portion of your belly to really help root down the sitting bones. If you're doing it seated like I am, try to keep your knees pointing up rather than rotating to face forward. Toes and knees pointing up. So in this hip opening posture, the last one, give yourself maybe 4 more deep breaths. Try taking longer exhalations, maybe even nice loud sighs through the mouth or fluttering the lips, giving the jaw some release. Or sticking out the tongue, lion's breath, cooling breath. When you exhale, the mouth is wide open. If you are sitting and folding, use the hands to help and lift your chest first. Breathe in to rise up. And take your hands to your outer thighs and draw the legs close together to come all the way down onto your back. Finding your last position, Shavasana, corpse pose. If you'd like to stay at the wall, feel free. It's a nice restorative posture too. So we have 2 minutes remaining. If you'd like to stay in Shavasana, feel free. Otherwise, I'm going to lead you through just a short mindfulness meditation to sit with however you're feeling. So if you'd like to do the latter, please begin to lift your body up, find a comfortable seat. And once you're sitting, eyes closed or almost closed, steadying the gaze softly. And just feel what's beneath your body and how your body is interacting with that. Feel the air around your body. Notice any sounds in your background. Feel the way that your body is breathing in its natural pace. You're simply observing. Try not to control or change anything. Just noticing what is. Feel where in your body you might feel movement because of your breath. Notice any thoughts that might appear, that might have been lingering. And then bring attention back to the breath. Be curious of any emotion you might feel without analyzing it. Just giving yourself space to feel, even if it might be a little uncomfortable. Feel the body breathing again. And as you sit with whatever emotion, notice the part of your body that gives you information about that emotion. Any subtle feeling in the body somewhere. Again, feel the breath flow. Simply giving yourself the space to feel whatever needs to be felt through the wisdom that is your body, your felt sense. And now begin to deepen the breath. If you're still lying down, begin to lift your body up if you want to close the practice together. And as you're sitting, join your palms to meet at your heart. Lifting your heart as you bow in to honor the guidance within. Knowing that our emotions are also information, just like the sensations. To let us know, as Ram Dass, author of that first book I read from, where we might be stuck, so that we can free ourselves through choice. Let's close the practice, joining in one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.